Hey, everybody. Today we're being joined by Dorothy Brister from the REACT Center, and she's going to tell you after a little bit. She's going to talk to you today about what the REACT Center is and what it's all about. And then Kim's been on before, though, right?
No, I think this is Kim's first time.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I haven't been on.
All right, so why don't we do, Dorothy, why don't you do just a brief introduction of yourself, and then we'll get Kim to do hers, and then we would get our campers to introduce themselves.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I really do appreciate it, and I always love doing these kind of things. But like Paul said, my name is Dorothy Brister. I am part of the Wisconsin Emergency Management Team, and I specifically work out at Voc Field Combat Readiness Training Center at the REACT Center, which is operated by DMA and WEM. And I'll get into what we do out there, but it's basically a pretty awesome training facility for specialized rescue. So thanks again for having me.
Okay, Kim?
Hey guys, good afternoon. I'm Kim Schubring. I've been involved with the READY program since 2007. Up until June, I had been leading Milwaukee area teens in the READY program at the Bayview Community Center. Jordyn is one of my teammates there. And now I'm kind of shifting to a new role within the READY program, and hopefully doing more work with like getting more schools engaged with the READY program so that we get more teens involved. So that's kind of my background. I'm currently working at St. Joseph Academy in Milwaukee, and I'm in charge of resource development there.
All right. Jordyn, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure, okay. I'm Jordyn. I'm from the Bayview team in Milwaukee, and I'm going to be a junior next year. And this is, I think, my 3rd or 4th year READY camp.
Hasn't been that many? Wow.
So she would have been at the one at Voc Field, Paul?
Yeah, I was there.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
probably have a selfie of you then because I was taking pictures that day.
Well, Daniel said he can't hear, so 1 second here. Check your volume. Everybody else can hear, right?
I can hear.
Yep, I can hear.
Okay. All right, Rayanne?
I'm Ryan Connor. I live in a small town of Jacksboro, Texas, and I am going into 8th grade.
Great. Daniel, I'm not sure what to tell you. Can you hear me at all? Because it's working on our end.
I'll chat to him to introduce himself through chat.
Yeah, and maybe if he has headphones, that might work better.
Okay. Janice.
Hi, my name is Janice. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and this is my first year at READY Camp. And I'm going to be a sophomore in high school in the fall.
And what else about the regional team?
Oh, yes. Also, I'm part of the FEMA Regional Youth Preparedness Council.
Awesome.
Great. I'm sorry, Janice. I keep saying Janice because I guess I just never paid attention, and I apologize. So.
It's okay.
And Daniel says, I'm Daniel from Milwaukee.
Yeah, see if you have a piece of Bluetooth tied in. That's what happens to me sometimes. It's trying to connect to some headphones or.
All right. So why don't we start today then? Jordyn, if you want to do your presentation, Mary Jean, if you'll share the screen with me, I'll pull Jordyn's presentation up.
Okay, done.
All right. What did I do with it? Oh, I lied. Give me a second here. I thought I had it on the desktop. Try again. There it is. All right. Can everybody see it?
Yep.
Take it away, Jordyn.
All right, so my presentation was about tornadoes. Next slide, please. All right, so when I was researching the tornado causes, I found out that scientists don't exactly know what specifically causes tornadoes, but they also revealed that tornadoes usually form under certain types of atmospheric conditions, so that's how they're able to predict them. They come from the energy released in the thunderstorm, and the most destructive and deadly tornadoes occur from supercells, which are rotating thunderstorms with well-defined radar circulation that also produces hail, severe winds, unusually frequent lightning, and flash floods. And then there's a little picture too, if anyone wanted to see that. All right, next slide, please. So here are some dangers of tornadoes. They have very strong winds. They can get up to as high as 300 miles per hour, some are recorded as. And then they're dangerous because they pick up debris like cars or tree branches and stuff like that, and they turn it into projectiles, which is the biggest danger for people. They destroy buildings and land, and they can leave communities completely devastated. And then there's also a picture of where tornadoes strike the most. So that's the most common areas for tornadoes to strike. All right, next slide, please. So here's some things on how to prepare. You have to know the signs. Usually there's a darker green colored sky, a large low-lying cloud, hail, or people say there's a loud roar and it sounds like a train. Pay attention to weather reports and warning systems. Also, if your city has things that make sounds when something is about to strike, make sure you listen to those. And then create a family safety plan for different locations, such as school, home, or work. And then you also need to practice the safety plan so everyone knows what to do. Have a battery-operated radio or device to listen to the emergency updates, and keep an emergency kit in an accessible location where everyone in your house can reach it. Next slide, please. So during a tornado, you want to find safe shelter immediately. Go to a safe room, basement, or a storm cellar. And then if the building doesn't have a basement, then you want to get to the smallest inside room on the bottom floor. And then you want to look out for any flying debris, and you can protect your head and neck using your arms. And then you don't want to get under a bridge or an overpass because the tornado can shoot things underneath, and then they can hit you from underneath. That's if you happen to be outside or in a car. So if you're in a car, stop your vehicle. Don't try to beat or rush the tornado. And then also trying to avoid being around many trees if you're outside because they could fall over. And then, yeah, so the picture just shows the safest place to be if the tornado strikes and you're at home. All right, next slide, please. And that's it. And those are all the resources I used to get the information and pictures. Thank you.
Good job.
Yay. Great job, Jordyn.
All right, so actually, I had a question during that. What do you use, Jordyn, for alerts? Do you get them on your cell phone, or how do you get alerted to?
Yeah, I get alerts on my phone, and then also for severe weather alerts, we'll get them on our TV too.
Okay, great, good deal. One of the things I didn't mention when we talked about storm safety the other day is that one of the programs, and maybe we can ask tomorrow, we're going to have some, and Kevin just joined us. Hello, Kevin.
Good afternoon. I can only be on for a few minutes, but I thought this is kind of cool what I've seen.
So we tomorrow we're going to be joined by a few other Wisconsin Emergency Management staffers, and they're going to be talking about their programs. So you can hit up Katie about mitigation programs. But one of the things I failed to mention about mitigation is they fund safe rooms for tornadoes. So some communities in the state do have safe rooms in parks and whatnot, so that in the event of a tornado, you can actually go to the safe room and shelter there and know that you're going to be in a safe location. Does anybody have any questions of Jordyn? That was a great presentation, Jordyn.
Excellent.
I just wanted to mention that I learned something new about the train-like sound, and that was really cool to hear about. So great presentation.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, any other questions? One second here. All right, so the other thing I want to show you, we had Janice did you did a poster or something? I didn't look at it, Janice, so you'll have to tell us. I'll pull it up here in a second. Let's see. Maybe I will. Stand by. There we go. I've got to get out of this. Okay. So what did Janice give us here? There you go. All right. Let me try this again. Okay, Janice, do you want to describe your poster?
Yeah, sure. So basically, this is like a fire recruitment mini poster, so to persuade people to become a firefighter. So I just did the motto, once a hero, always a hero, because I consider firefighters like heroes. And the text in blue is basically some things that firefighters do at the top. So like search and rescue, investigation, inspections, honor guard, smoke jumper. And I listed those so that people may expect, so that people know what to expect, because in some people's minds, they just think that firefighters just prevent fires, but they do more than that. And then I did 4 images, and those are the 4 core, or actually 5 core values that firefighters do their work by. So unity, teamwork, niceness, excellence, and integrity. And in yellow, I just did the different types of firefighting. So there's structural, wildland, military, and industrial. And become a firefighter today. So that's my mini poster.
Very good.
Yeah.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
Can we get a copy of that?
Yeah, we got it.
Thank you.
That's really
All you
good.
gotta do is slap your phone number on there now, and you got your recruitment poster.
Yeah. Can you make posters for us for Ready Camp in the future?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey, I'm serious, Paul. If she's willing to share and give her credit, if somebody doesn't mind sending that to me, I'll share it with some of the fire chiefs that I know. Use it as a recruitment.
Yeah, we'd love to hang one here at the REACT Center. That would be awesome.
Cool. Well, if you're okay with Janice, if you're okay with that, we'll share it with everybody here.
It's Janice.
Janice. Janice. Oh, okay. One of these days I'll get right. Okay, so Janice, are you okay with me sharing that?
Yeah, sure.
All right, good. Thank you. We'll make sure your name gets attached to it. So
Yeah, we'll just make sure her name's on there so we can give her credit.
yeah. So so our guest presenter today, I introduced you to her already, is Dorothy Bristol. I mentioned to you the other day, or actually it was during the video of me, that one of my first job here in Wisconsin was the director at the REACT Center, and I've since moved on. I'm now the bureau director for response and recovery at WEM, and REACT Center is still one of my responsibilities, but the person that really runs it is Dorothy now. So even though she has a director out there, Dorothy really runs it. we wanted to give you an overview of the REACT Center because it's really, really neat. And Jordyn, I think you had an opportunity to see it. So, but Dorothy's going to give us a presentation. So I'm going to pull up Dorothy's presentation and Dorothy.
Awesome.
You can take it away.
So like I said, thanks again, guys, for having me. Your guys' presentations and flyer was awesome. That makes my heart very happy. This is one of passions of mine is getting young people focused and ready to go into the future. So like Paul said, my name is Dorothy. I am the training officer at the REACT Center. Paul Cook actually hired me. He was part of a panel that hired me in 2016, and it was my first ever grown-up job. And I had always worked in the fire service or done some kind of law enforcement, but this was the first job that I'd ever had like this, where I did not know the world I was getting into, but I wouldn't change it one bit. So like I said, I actually started in the fire service in 2003. I was fresh out of high school. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I felt kind of incomplete because I hadn't found my calling yet. But I knew that I like to do something that was out of the norm. And I also like dealing with money, as weird as that sounds. I like accounting type stuff, but I was kind of torn on what to do. Through a weird series of events, when I started college doing my generals, I got linked up with a volunteer fire department, and my whole world changed. I changed everything from my career path. I started Wisconsin Technical College as one of their fire science programs, became a first responder in the beginning, and then jumped into the EMT program, which was part of my fire science. And like Janice mentioned, there's just so many other aspects I was not aware of. Like, you're not just a firefighter, you are doing everything from prevention to mitigation to hazmat to medical services. Wouldn't change it. It's been a crazy journey, and I finally landed exactly where I needed to be, which is the REACT Center. So with that being said, I would like to explain to you exactly what we do out here. So Paul, if you could go to the next slide. So just to kind of start over, as you know, we are part of Wisconsin Emergency Management. Paul Cook is our big boss, so I'm only going to say nice things about him today. Just kidding. But I always joke around that we have the funnest job for WEM and DMA. All of our counterparts, all of our coworkers that work in Madison still have a huge vital role in what we do, and we assist them as well. But we definitely are blessed with the cool things we get to do out here. So this is a 15-acre compound. It was actually fully functional in 2007. There was some money that had come in from the federal government, and we had some awesome instructors and employees who wanted to kind of take this dream, to the next level of, after 9/11 happened, to assist task force teams and USAR teams to respond to 9/11 type calls. And it just slowly started building from that. It went from doing one particular discipline to just expanding to teaching multiple classes. And so as we go along here, I'm going to kind of explain what we do, but our bread and butter and what we're known for is our structural collapse city in the Badger Den. And we have people that come in from all over the United States. Sometimes we go all over the world, not recently, but it is just this great opportunity to show people what to do if there was a huge disaster, whether it was natural, man-made, and buildings were collapsing and we needed to rescue people, especially multiple amounts of people. You can go to the next slide, Paul.
Yeah, actually, I want to interrupt for just 1 second. You're using a couple of acronyms they may not be familiar with.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, so you want to tell them what a USAR team is, Dorothy?
So a USAR team is a urban search and rescue team. And so I kind of want to go back to Janice's flyer as anybody who works in any type of emergency services is important. Nobody is, less than anybody or better than anybody, but where these teams are unique, these urban search and rescue teams, is they are taking something that is not meant for the capacity and equipment and tools of a smaller department or even a city department because of how in-depth this rescue is. So these are teams that are formed, and they're specialized rescuers. They're going to be doing some of the most dangerous jobs to try to help people. And so as I actually included some really cool photos in this slide, that's going to allow me to explain that better. But I do apologize. I have a horrible habit of doing acronyms, and I hated when people did that to me when I didn't understand them yet. So feel free to correct me, Paul, if I do it. So next slide. All right, so this is actually, this is one of my favorite photos I love. This was actually taken at the REACT Center. A lot of the photos you're gonna see in here, I did take. Paul lets me be that emergency service photographer that I love being, but I do wanna give credit that this was not my photo. This photo is excellent. One of the biggest props we play with is concrete and how to use our rescue tools and how we're gonna breach and shore and dig trenches to help people. So we use this photo for our brochure actually, and I just love it because it just kind of shows the whole who we are. We're very diverse, we're very unique, and it's just an awesome photograph. Next slide, please. All right, so like I had mentioned before, the REACT Center was established to provide training and skill maintenance platform for the Wisconsin Urban Search and Rescue Response assets, which became fully operational in 2007. So just to elaborate on that, originally we were not going to be a training site that catered to outside customers. We were strictly here to help our Wisconsin team, which is made up, currently it is stood down. I do have to make that disclaimer. There's some legislative things going on, but in general, this team is made up of professional career departments all over the state of Wisconsin who have signed a contract with us saying that if there was some kind of major disaster where assistance was needed, that they would respond and train and stay current. And those were the people we were training at the REACT Center, we were training ourselves. And word got out about how cool and amazing we were that other agencies started reaching out to us saying, hey, can I get some training too? So then the Pauls of the world, and the Greg Ingalls and the other people involved in this formation, we had to come up with a plan of how we were going to do this, especially if we were going to be exchanging revenue and those type of things. So, and like I said, we were getting requests from civilians and military, but military is one of our main customers out here. So next slide, please. So a huge, phenomenal step. Paul, do you remember what year we became Pro Board accredited?
Oh gosh, no.
Okay, sorry to put you on the spot. It was before my time, but this was a huge honor and it took a lot of work to become accredited by Pro Board. So when you are taking these classes through us or any college, you want to, the physical and practical training is the most important part, but it's important to show proof of your work that you can present to other agencies, especially when it has the REACT name on it. People know when they come out to the REACT Center, they're going to get some of the top-notch, most intense, diverse training. And so Pro Board is the one that is attesting, saying, yep, they're meeting all the standards and curriculums, and you guys will learn that later on in life in school. But we're basically saying that we safely and responsibly taught this discipline. And these are just a list of some of the classes we teach. And then once you successfully complete these tests with us, which will be a written and a practical, we're going to give you a certificate. Now, a lot of times when you are taking these classes, there's going to be a prereq or another certificate that's required to even take some of these higher up classes, because we need to know that you're trained and ready to go to move to the next level. So like how I did that, Paul, I said prereq and then I explained it better.
Yeah.
So we have two types of classes. Is you're going to have a class where we're actually taking you outside and doing evolutions, and then we have a couple classes that we actually do in classroom training where you're just strictly working inside our main administrative building, learning and doing tests, but you're not going to do any physical activity outside. But we only do a couple of those, and that's just to kind of help people advance their careers and learn more. Next slide, please. So this is why, if I can stay at the REACT Center forever, I'm more than likely going to, because the staff that works here, they are all career firefighters, and we do have some law enforcement or military that work at other departments or have other active duty positions with the military, but they work for us as part-time staff. So we hand select our instructors. Like, people can't just put an application in and come work at the REACT Center. We have to vet them and make sure that they're going to represent our product, especially on the practical side, safely, and just provide that great knowledge to the student and other members. So it is a really exciting thing when you have people that literally they want to be here. This is their passion. Like they could go somewhere else and work, but this is where they want to be. So you get a whole different product because of that. You get students that want to learn and can't get enough of this place. They're not dying by PowerPoint, and like they feel like they're hanging out with their friends, learning some really cool rescue techniques, and they're also being safe and learning how to help people. So once again, the task force team is temporarily stood down, so I'm kind of speaking in past tense, but a lot of our REACT staff are also task force members. So they may be teachers in real life for us, but if there's a big emergency, whether it's man-made or natural, they're going to load up our tons and tons and tons of equipment, and they're going to deploy out and help rescue people. So next slide. So this one, so I know, Jordyn, you've been here, but we are tenants of Volk Field. We are not a military agency, or we're not active duty soldiers that work for the REACT Center. We are state civilian employees, but we are tenants of Volk Field. So that's a really cool thing. Only time it can be a little tricky is our, Web Central, and as you know, Paul is my boss. He's located in Madison. So if we need stuff, paperwork, meetings, we will be commuting there. And a lot of times they'll come see us. But we have two sides of this installation, and one is going to be the Camp Williams side, which is Army, and then we have the other side, which is the Air Guard side. So that is important to us here because it depends on where something breaks, what maintenance team we have to call, who we have to report to. We do climb up in the bluffs a lot for our ropes class. We have to fill out safety packets and risk assessments with, the air safety. So it's really important to know where we kind of lie, but we do technically lay on the Camp Williams side of Volk Field. So next slide, please. So as you guys know, we just recently got a new tag at Wisconsin Adjutant General. Paul's probably going to scold me for not filling that in. I apologize. So, but it is General Paul Knapp who just took over. I actually had the privilege of working with him the last 3 months when we all got activated for COVID response and the civil unrest team. So really got to know him really well and got to explain a little more what we do here at the REACT Center, but he's ultimately in charge of all of us at Department of Military Affairs. And then he oversees my WEM administrator, which is Dr. Daryl Williams. He just came out yesterday for a site visit, so that was super, super cool. So Dr. Williams is basically the liaison that represents us WEM employees to the tag. My boss is Troy Klemstein here. He is the director, so he's going to oversee a big portion of our financials and overall operations. And then my position as the training officer, it is probably one of the coolest jobs you could have here. And I think even Paul and my director admit they wish they had my job because I get to work. I am the POC, or the point of contact, that works with all the military units to set up their trainings. I work with the other WEM staff. I work with law enforcement agencies. I work with Secret Service. So I'm the person that they contact when they want to use our facility here or have us provide a training service. And like I said, we teach multiple classes, that are for specialized rescue. We do a lot of confined space stuff, a lot of ropes, and we're doing a lot of like really tricky high angle, which I'm gonna show you pictures in a few seconds here. It'll be kind of a better understanding of what we do, but really cool jobs. I get to meet a lot of people. I got to meet the READY Campers, a couple years ago. That was probably one of my favorite events. I'm really into working with juveniles, especially who want to get into this field. So we have, like I said, approximately almost 40 LTEs that help us with administrative support and practical learning disciplines here at the REACT Center. Next slide, please. This one doesn't really pertain to you guys, but this is like a slide that we will show all of our students on the first day of class. Safety is very important to us here. There's some pretty tricky and sometimes dangerous stuff we're doing. So we do have staff where their only job is to be safety and make sure that all students are wearing their PPE, personal protection equipment. And, we just double check that they have everything. We work with the unit commanders to make sure that they're bringing the stuff that they need here. So that's another important thing of being a student at the REACT Center. It's something you have to take very seriously and make sure you're not going to get hurt. Next slide, please. All right, this one I'm not going to just get too much into. This is more of a student thing. Sorry, I had a delivery here. So like I said, one of the things that we do tell our students before they arrive is when you do come to our center, the testing that you're going to take, whether it's written or a practical test, you're not just going to pass because you showed up. We have to make sure that you can safely do all these things and provide this service to somebody out in the real world. So we do take the testing side very, very seriously. Next slide, please. All right, so I thought I'd share some of my favorite pictures. Like I mentioned, I kind of have, my mom was a photographer, and I have this weird thing where I love taking emergency service photography. I want something that's gonna pop to you, not just like a out of focus kind of crappy photo. I want something that's gonna go, wow, I wish I was there. So this is one of our instructors in the orange hat here in the gray t-shirt. That's Jake Kirchner. But these two gentlemen to my right here, they're getting ready to rappel off our bluffs here at Vogue Field. And I don't know if you've ever driven by when you're on the interstate, seen the large bluffs up on the side of the hill, but this is a very scary thing. We have to fill out about a 40-page document ensuring that when we rappel these people off here, whether they're civilian or military units, that they're gonna safely make it while training. And as you can see, the simulation they're doing is how to rescue somebody who might have fallen at like a national park or off of a bluff, or just that very tricky high angle rescue. To my left is where we start them. This is our training yard. So we actually have a ropes connex that we put them on top of. So I didn't do it. To practice their ropes. So when you come on our first day of class for ropes 1 and 2, we're gonna actually teach you the specialized knots that you will need. There's just a lot of things you have to learn ahead, a lot of lecture, and then we take you out in the field and show you how to apply these skills. So this is the really cool part. We will learn real quick, especially in our military units who possibly has a fear of heights that they didn't quite realize. And we're very accommodating. There's no shame to just saying you can't handle it, but a lot of these people are ready to go. And these are gonna be the experts that you call when something really bad is happening. So next slide, please. I want to include this photo. So a lot of people don't realize we're not just getting military and firemen out here, but we get a lot of military police and local law enforcement groups that are part of SWAT teams. We have a high-risk entry facility that's used for breaching and practicing clearing buildings. And we also have our large footprint allows them to bring all their equipment and just practice tactical takedowns. And we can provide catering and lodging for them. So we're an ideal spot. We get a lot of local law enforcement. We've been getting lots of requests lately due to the recent protests and people wanting to brush up on their skills here. So next slide. This is just a picture of one of our, this is actually an Air Force barracks, but we have several lodging barracks that we acquired as part of being tenants of Oak Field. So that's another thing that makes us unique about the REACT Center. And I know Jordyn stayed these before. These are summer camps for adults. You bring your own toiletries, you get a single bed, we have some Wi-Fi, and that's about it. It's camp. So it's not a Holiday Inn or a Hilton. You're gonna kind of rough it for a few days while you're here. And that's another thing that, like I said, makes us unique here is we can provide lodging, and it's a lot cheaper than putting their members at a hotel nearby, which can add up very quickly. So next slide. That's just another angle of our ropes course. As you can kind of see, our REACT centers in the background, and I'll kind of show you a little more because we have an aerial map on there. But you know, this is, we're not just talking about this stuff, we're physically teaching people how to do this, so it can get pretty intense, but they are all great students and they're brave people. So, and all they want to do is help others. So it's a good feeling. Next slide. This was part of our Midwest Rescue Challenge, where we brought in a few specialized rescue teams and task force, and we basically had them compete in a little competition, but they had to do obstacle courses, and they were timed. And I believe we did places, right, for them, Paul? When they were, we didn't do this last year, but it's a friendly challenge we do with some of our neighboring teams, but they also get to brush up on their skills and kind of network and build relationship with their nearby fellow task force teams. Next slide. I wanted to include this photo too, because as you saw the gentleman a few slides back on the side, but this is what it looks like from the other angle. And so a lot of times we'll place mannequins down there. and that's what we're having them rescue. But as you can see on the top, they're using their specialized knots and rope skills that we teach them here, and this is part of their test at the end as well. Next slide. Just another example of when we're, we do some behind the scenes practicing before we actually take them out in the field. So we don't just take them out in the field and say, go rescue somebody. We make sure their skills are good, they're ready to go, and then we'll kind of start increasing their evolution. So next slide. I just wanted to include this picture because we also, what's really awesome about us, this is something that kind of developed in the last few years more extremely, is that we actually have been taking this, this show on the road. We are now traveling to other military installations. We're going to other veterans hospitals, other fire departments. We are traveling all over the United States. A few times we have gone, all over the world. So the more people hear about us, they're willing, to pay to have us come out there. And that's a very huge honor, and we enjoy doing it as well. So for my job as a training officer, it takes a lot of logistical planning and it can be very stressful. So I have to make sure everything's organized to get people out there and get them permission to train these other units and civilians. So next slide. This is just kind of an overall view of our REACT Center with a 15-acre property. And like I said, we call it the Badger Den. You walk out there and it's just awesome. It's just this huge playground for first responders to really learn some in-depth skills. So just want to throw that on there so you could get a better visual of what we look like. Next slide. This was a picture that I took basically right around 2016, the fall of 2016. But this is them after they've recovered the patient at the bottom of the bluffs. This is them, working to get that patient secured and ready for transport for the medical unit. Next slide. Oh, duplicate photo, my bad. And then this is just some more, like, I put some other angles of them like breaching and so just imagine they had to go into a very large story building that has just collapsed. We're showing them how to secure and shore these pieces of concrete and materials so that they can safely rescue people. Next slide. This one, I love this photo. I did not take this one. I believe it was from, I thought it was from Patriot or one of the big exercises that happened out here, but this guy, is completely extended up in the air. And this is what we're teaching, is those really hard to get places. We're going to show you how those people get in there and rescue people. So next slide. This is one of our confined space courses. We taught for some local fire departments. I love these classes because they really challenge people and make them realize what they're comfortable with and what they're not comfortable with. And the best advice I can give to a first responder is if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. We're not invincible. Something can happen to all of us. So we kind of, not only do we teach practical, but we're also focusing on mental skills of learning what your capabilities are and what's safe and what's not. So the confined space course, we have several props that we use, but we lower them down, we teach them how to cut in. It's a very cool program. So next slide. This is a picture. I include this one, even though it says task force in the background. Majority of our REACT instructors are in this photo, plus the other departments that represent us to help us keep this training facility running. And just a phenomenal group of people, and I just couldn't ask for a better set of coworkers. And the other thing I forgot to mention about our task force, and it's another class we do facility rentals for, is we also do a lot of canine type courses out here. And the canines obviously can do dead or live victims to help recover them. So that's a huge training aspect, and it kind of ties into our law enforcement groups because a lot of them do have canines. So we can also run the law enforcement groups through our canine obstacle course as well. So it all kind of comes together. Next picture, please. I had to throw some of these Minneapolis photos in. I am from that area, and they come here twice a year, and I love it. Minneapolis and St. Paul and Minnesota Task Force 1 are a huge customer of ours, and we have a great relationship. And just another picture of some of the scary stuff we're training them to do if there would be a high-rise collapse or other large structural buildings. So we take this pretty serious when we're training them. Next slide. This photo was actually taken at a local response that we had a few years ago. And at this point, we were just trying to do body recovery and also look for possible live victims for a very large explosion that we had But this picture represents who we are at the REACT Center and Wisconsin Task Force 1 and other urban search and rescue teams. This is a confined space. This is literally a definition of a confined space, and the risk and the bravery that these responders are doing. And I'm not saying that this is for everyone. There's no shame in saying, hey, I don't like being in close spaces, but these are the people that are going to come in when no one else can. So I was very proud to see this photo. They did an excellent job during that deployment. Paul and I actually got to work that one together. That was our first one. So I remember because I was trying to call in late and he said, no, we're getting deployed. So yeah, this was where I realized I'm at the right place, because when I watched how professional these people were and what they did for this community, it was unbelievable. So next slide. This is one of our hazmat pictures. Everyone thinks hazmat's super boring, but I'll tell you what, it's one of the biggest classes at the REACT Center, and it's exciting. We teach hazmat for whether it's going to be people dealing with the railroads, if there was a train derailment, law enforcement comes in, and we'll do drug labs with the DEA and FBI and Secret Service, and our agents, our DCI agents, which are the local law enforcement state agents. So hazmat is one of the biggest classes out here at the REACT Center. We do multiple disciplines of it. So if you guys ever want to take some classes when you get older, let me know, because it's really cool. Next slide. Just another picture of them working in the yard, doing some cribbing to secure a building. Next slide. This was part of our canine course. Next slide. There's me with that cool dog. That was not even my dog, but I couldn't resist. It was the best. But we were doing a super fit canine class, and we were actually learning how the dog's anatomy works. And the reason is it's how to keep them safe. So what people didn't realize during 9/11, all these dogs went out to help find live victims and unfortunately deceased victims so that their family could have closure. But we didn't realize what we were exposing the animals to, because they absorb through their paw print. So this class was designed to show you how a dog's body functions, and it was one of the coolest classes I've ever taken here at the REACT Center. So always something cool going on. Next slide. This was kind of my funny. So the REACT Center stands for the Regional Emergency All Climate Training Center. So this picture was taken in Hawaii, a class we were hired to do in Hawaii. And then the picture to the left is me giving a site visit to the Wisconsin Surf P when we just had a blizzard. So we do not halt operations when it snows in Wisconsin. Matter of fact, a lot of times units will send their people to us during our coldest months because they want them to experience real life conditions. So next slide. Just another fun picture of the guys hanging out in the trees for our ropes. And this was the Midwest Rescue Challenge as well. Next slide. Another snowy day. And you can move on there. This one was Virginia, Minnesota, and Fort McCoy Fire. Got another blizzard, and their chiefs were like, nope, we're gonna keep going with the class. Obviously, we make sure they're safe. We give them breaks, keep them warm, but we do want them to experience these temperatures and climate, because this is what they're going to respond to in real life during a disaster or emergency for their departments. Next slide. This is one of our schoolhouse classes we taught at Fort McCoy. Like I mentioned, some of our classes do not even step foot out in the Badger Den footprint. These are done strictly indoors, and it's a classroom curriculum. But these are the classes you guys are going to need to advance your careers someday. So pay attention. They're very useful to have. Next slide. One of our booths, part of my job is I have to promote the business as well, especially when we're doing conferences or big events for the state. So that is our fun little booth that we get to set up. And I really enjoy doing those because you get to meet all the local responders for your state. Next slide. This one I had to include. I think Paul knew I was going to do this, but when our training facility was temporarily shut down and classes were halted due to COVID-19, I thought that I was just going to get to telework and lay around in my pajamas all day. And it turns out I was actually going to be moved to Madison. I currently live in Sparta, but I stayed in Madison for approximately 3 months. And it was an honor not only to learn how we would deal with a situation in emergency management that we had never dealt with before. I mean, we really had to learn as we went, but I got the privilege of flying to one of the testing sites with General Matthews and her cadre of people. And it was a great learning experience. And once again, I knew I was in the right field. So next slide. I put this photo in here because this was the first year I worked here. And I mean, look at that smile. I mean, you have to work in a career that you know that you're gonna love and just be happy at every day. So next slide. These are just a couple of the people I've worked with in the last couple of months. That's one of my WEM counterparts, Carrie. She's hazard, all hazards.
Right. She's actually rep, radiological preparedness.
Okay, so I wanted to put this picture of Carrie in here, you guys, because like I said, I'm over here at Volk Field, they're in Madison, but when we have any kind of disaster or emergency where it involves the State Emergency Operations Center to be activated, they're gonna pull all hands on deck, and I was one of them. So we got the call saying, hey, we need you. So I came to Madison, and I have never worked with Carrie before. She is my coworker, but we have never done the same position. And I mean, I really got to know her. I got to know the other people I worked with. So it's important that we do that cross training and have a professional relationship with all of our colleagues. So next slide. Almost done here. All right, so I actually had to put this on here because I had to get cheesy on Paul for a minute, but I love this photo of me and Paul because, you know, in 2016, I applied. I didn't think I was actually going to get this job at Wisconsin Emergency Management. I had all these college credentials. I had some, life experience, but I didn't have any leadership experience. I didn't have any experience working with a state agency. And Paul, I was part of several applicants that came in, and Paul literally gave me a chance. And he saw potential in me. He knew my passion was there. He knew I was going to be a long-term person who was this was my passion, not just my career or my paycheck. So I always like to give Paul props. He's been hard on me. He's been good to me. He's taught me a lot. He always is making me better. So want to give Paul a shout out for taking a chance on me 4 years ago. So next slide. I'm almost done here. So you guys, I did put our website on here. I would love for you to please go on there, check it out, take a picture with your phone to get that address. But we have a virtual tour tab that I worked with Volk Field with their drone people to get, a very cool drone footage of our whole property. And then I got some stills. You'll see the classes that we teach are on the website. This website is phenomenal. It has my contact information on there as well. So if you ever need any career advice, you just have a general question, reach out to me. I love this stuff. So next slide, please. Like us on Facebook. We have one of the coolest Facebook pages. Our public information officer always gives me crap because they obviously have to review every post we make. They have to see who's commenting, who's liking, but they've admitted to us that we have one of the highest flowing pages for Wisconsin Emergency Management. We keep it fresh, we keep it real, we put cool photos on there. We give great advice. So like us on Facebook, it's a great resource if you're getting into this field. Another way to contact us, and always feel free to reach out to us at the REACT Center. Even if you're driving by and you just want to come check it out again, we will happily give you a tour. We post all upcoming classes on there. You'll get to see all the cool things we're doing. We are here for you, I promise. Next slide. Here is my contact information again. Please take it down. Even if you want to shoot me a text, that is my work cell on there, the 608-316-5042. I made it as far as I did in this field because of relying on other people and networking. My email's on there. If you need advice, you need me to help proofread a paper, anything, even though I'm not the greatest at grammar sometimes. But please get a hold of me. I would love to mentor you or just, be your emergency service friend. Like, I got you guys. So that's all I have. Really, really appreciate you guys inviting me to this. I loved seeing your guys' presentations and your flyer. And if you ever need anything, just let me know.
Okay, well, thanks, Dorothy. Let's give Dorothy a round of applause.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and that was our presentation for today. Tomorrow, for those that can join us tomorrow, we're gonna take a look at what you've assembled so far, and you can take a picture and send it to us if you want of your preparedness kit. And then we have some more presentations about tomorrow's theme is the profession of emergency management. So we're gonna be talking with and hearing from some folks that work in the professions and hear about the different aspects of emergency management. So, actually, I should have asked, does anybody have any questions of Dorothy?
No.
I'm just that good, right?
Yeah, great job, Dorothy.
Yeah,
Thanks, you guys. I really do appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What was that?
Rhiannon said she couldn't be here tomorrow. We got that. She said in the text box. I'd mentioned that we saw that. So thank you.
All of the videos are loaded to the Be Ready, all capital letters, YouTube site. So feel free to watch it there also.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. If you don't have any questions, we're going to wrap it up for today, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Kim, do you want to give them an overview for next week?
Sure. Next week is about CPR and AED. We'll be joined by staff at Children's Wisconsin here in Milwaukee. We have a number of different presentations that will take place. Some of them will be live and some of them will be pre-recorded, but with somebody there to answer questions or take questions that you would like follow up on from those events. So we'll be doing hands-only CPR. You'll be learning about how to do a school safety drills. Kathy Verstegen from Kimberly School District will be joining us on Wednesday. There's some healthy heart activities throughout the week. And then Allie Thompson from Project Adam and I will be wrapping up the week. You'll want to be taking notes throughout the week because we're hoping to do a Zoom bingo that will require some live participation and know what happened throughout the week in order to be able to check off your bingo cards. So it should be fun.
And Amazon gift cards.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yay. All right. Well, sounds good. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Yeah, it was great seeing y'all.
Happy Thursday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.